It was one of those nights when the silence of a mansion felt louder than the noise of the world outside. Arman Khan, a man everyone in the city admired for his wealth and success, had built an empire from nothing. A millionaire by every definition, his schedule was tighter than the gold watch he wore. Tonight, however, something unusual happened. He came home earlier than usual. The heavy mahogany doors of his mansion opened, and he walked inside, loosening his tie, ready to collapse into the emptiness he called home. But then he heard something, soft, broken, and fragile. It wasn't the sound of TV or music. It was crying. Confused, he followed the sound, his expensive shoes clicking against the marble floor until he reached the half-open door of his daughter's room. What he saw inside made his throat tighten and his heart shatter into pieces. His teenage daughter, Aisha, was sitting on the floor, hugging her knees tightly against her chest. Tears streamed down her face as she stared at a family photograph, one of the few pictures that still had her late mother in it. Arman froze. The image pierced him. His daughter was supposed to be happy, wasn't she? He gave her everything money could buy, designer clothes, gadgets, the best tutors, even a brand new car for her 17th birthday. And yet, here she was, crying alone in the shadows of a mansion too big to feel like home. Beta, his voice cracked as he whispered, stepping into the room. Aisha quickly wiped her tears, trying to hide her pain, but her father had already seen it. She forced a smile, the kind that cuts deeper than tears. "Papa, you're home early," she said softly. Arman sat down beside her, his strong businessman facade melting away. "Why are you crying? Tell me, what's wrong?" Her silence was heavier than any answer. She tried to speak, but her lips trembled. Finally, she whispered, I just miss Mom. Anne. I miss you too, Papa. Even though you're here, it feels like you're not." Those words struck him like a thunderbolt. He prided himself on being a provider, on making sure his daughter never faced the struggles he did growing up. But in his chase for success, he failed to realize that what she needed wasn't luxury, it was him. He took her hand gently. "Aisha, I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought if I gave you everything I never had, you would never feel pain. But I forgot the most important thing, myself." Her tears returned, and so did his. For years, he hadn't allowed himself to cry, not even at his wife's funeral. But tonight, the dam broke. Father and daughter held each other, their tears soaking into memories long suppressed. The next morning, things began to change. Arman canceled a board meeting for the first time in his career. His colleagues were shocked, his assistants panicked, but he didn't care. That day, he took Aisha to her favorite park where he used to take her and her mother years ago. They sat under the same old tree, eating ice cream and laughing at stories he hadn't told in years. Over the next few weeks, Arman's routine transformed. He still worked, but he made sure his evenings were reserved for his daughter. They cooked together, something his wife once loved doing. Aisha taught him silly TikTok dances, and though he looked ridiculous, his daughter's laughter was worth every awkward step. But change wasn't easy. One evening, as Arman was setting the dining table with Aisha, his phone buzzed with an urgent call from one of his company's directors. He hesitated, torn between habit and heart. Aisha noticed and whispered, "It's okay, Papa, you can answer it." But this time, he shook his head, switched off his phone, and said, "No, Beta. Tonight, I'm having dinner with my daughter. The world can wait." That simple act, choosing her over everything, mended a wound that had been bleeding silently for years. Months passed, and Arman began to notice something else. Aisha's grades improved, her smile became genuine again, and the sparkle in her eyes returned. She even started talking about her dreams, how she wanted to study psychology and help children who struggled with loneliness. Her father listened with pride, realizing that her strength came not from what she had, but from what she survived. Then came a moment that sealed everything. On Father's Day, Aisha gave him a handmade card. It wasn't bought from a fancy store. It was a simple folded paper with uneven handwriting. Inside it read, "Papa, you are my hero. Not because of your money, but because you finally came back to me. Thank you for choosing me." Armin's eyes blurred with tears as he hugged her tightly, whispering, "No, Beta, thank you for reminding me what really matters." That night, as he stood by his wife's photograph, he whispered softly, "I almost lost her too, but I won't anymore. I promise." From that day onward, Armin lived with a new definition of success. It wasn't the contracts he signed, the awards he won, or the wealth he accumulated. It was the sound of his daughter's laughter echoing through the once empty halls of his mansion. And though he remained a millionaire in the world's eyes, in his daughter's heart, he became something far greater. He became a father. The lesson was clear, shining brighter than all his wealth. Success means nothing if the people you love are crying alone in the shadows of your absence. What truly matters is presence, love, and the moments that cannot be bought with money. And so, his story stands as a reminder to every parent chasing dreams: don't forget the little hearts waiting at home. Because sometimes, coming home early can change everything.